Here we go.
Today, Tridingo returns once more to the theater of violence, resilience, and raw human will with another chapter in the unforgettable series. Fighters returning from the dead, turning defeat into spectacular victory, Part 10. But what we revisit today is not merely a contest. It is not just another night beneath the bright lights of the ring. This is a war story, etched in and driven by a defiance that refuses to bow to pain, exhaustion, or even the shadow of defeat itself. This is the story of resurrection. This is Orlando Salido versus Terdsak Jandaeng. From the very first moment both fighters stepped through the ropes, there was a tension in the air so thick it felt almost suffocating. The crowd sensed it instinctively. This was not going to be a tactical chess match or a cautious exchange of jabs. No, something far more primal was about to unfold, something violent, something unforgettable. On one side stood Terdsak Jandaeng, a hardened warrior forged in the relentless fires of Thai boxing. His record, 62 victories, only 5 defeats, and 1 draw, with 41 knockouts, was not just impressive, it was terrifying. It told a simple truth. This was a man who did not come to outpoint opponents. He came to destroy them. Each punch he threw carried the force of finality. Each step forward was a declaration of war. Across from him stood Orlando Salido, a veteran carved from years of brutal encounters. A former IBF and WBO featherweight champion, Salido was no stranger to suffering. He had walked through fire before, traded blows with elite fighters, and endured punishment that would break most men. But even for a seasoned warrior like him, this night would demand something deeper, something beyond experience. It would demand instinct, survival, something almost inhuman. Then the bell rang. There was no hesitation. No testing of distance, no cautious circling. From the very first second, both men launched into combat as if the fight had already reached its final round. Gloves collided with flesh in violent bursts. The sound of punches echoed sharply through the arena, crisp, heavy, and sickening. Sweat and saliva sprayed into the air under the bright lights as neither man gave an inch. Terdsak struck first, and he struck with authority. His punches were sharp, calculated, and venomous. A crushing right hand slammed into Salido early, sending a ripple through the crowd. It was a message, clear and brutal. The Thai fighter surged forward, eyes locked, predatory and unrelenting. He sensed weakness, even if only a fraction, and he attacked it mercilessly. Then came the moment that changed everything. A thunderous blow landed clean. Salido dropped. The crowd erupted, not in joy, but in shock. This was Orlando Salido, a man known for his iron chin, a fighter who had survived wars. And now he was on the canvas. He rose, but barely had time to regain his footing before another storm descended. Another crushing shot. Down again. 2 knockdowns. Early, devastating. For most fighters, that would have been the beginning of the end. The script would have written itself, a dominant aggressor overwhelming a fading veteran. But Salido was not following that script. He stood up again, and something changed. It wasn't panic in his eyes. It wasn't fear. It was something colder, something unshakable. A refusal to surrender, no matter the cost. A quiet, dangerous belief that this fight was far from over. The rounds continued, but instead of slowing, the battle grew even more savage. Terdsak pressed forward relentlessly, his confidence surging with every heavy shot that landed. Each punch seemed capable of ending the fight. He was hunting the finish, determined to close the show. But Salido refused to disappear. He began digging deep into experience, into memory, into the countless wars that had shaped him. Slowly he pushed back. His punches, though initially slower, began to carry weight. His body shots landed with dull, punishing thuds against Terdsak's ribs, each one an investment, each one part of a larger, unseen plan. The arena came alive with tension. Fans leaned forward, unable to look away. What they were witnessing was no longer just a fight. It was a test of human endurance pushed to its absolute limits. By the middle rounds, both fighters were already marked by war. Swelling distorted their faces. Cuts opened and bled freely. Crimson streaks painted their skin. Their breathing grew heavier, their movements slightly slower, but their will remained untouched. Neither man stepped back. At this point, technique began to fade into the background. This was no longer about precision or strategy. This was about survival, about willpower, about who could endure just a little more suffering than the other. Salido absorbed punches that would have shattered lesser fighters. Terdsak continued firing back with relentless aggression, refusing to relinquish control. The momentum swung violently like a pendulum caught in chaos, unpredictable and unforgiving. But beneath the surface of the storm, something subtle was happening. Salido had a plan. Even as he hit the canvas, even as he tasted his own blood, he believed he was exactly where he needed to be. Every exchange, every brutal moment was part of a larger vision. He was dragging Terdsak into deep waters, a place where power alone could not save you, a place where endurance ruled. And slowly, almost invisibly, the tide began to turn. As the fight entered the later rounds, the pace, though still ferocious, began to favor Salido. Terdsak's punches, while still dangerous, had lost a fraction of their earlier sharpness. His steps slowed, his reactions dulled ever so slightly. The cost of his relentless assault was beginning to show. Salido, on the other hand, seemed to grow stronger. Now it was he who pressed forward. His gloves pounded against Terdsak's body and head with increasing frequency. The roles were shifting. The hunter was becoming the hunted. The crowd felt it. Every punch from Salido triggered roars. Every exchange carried the weight of a potential ending. The tension became almost unbearable. And then came the 11th round, a round destined for history. Salido rose from his corner with purpose. No hesitation, no doubt. He closed the distance instantly and unleashed a relentless barrage. Punches flew in waves, hooks, crosses, body shots, forcing Terdsak backward for the first time in the fight. The Thai warrior tried to respond. He tried to summon the power that had once dropped Salido. But it wasn't the same. The war had taken its toll. Salido's punches rained down with urgency and fury. Each shot carried not just force, but desperation, the determination of a man who refused to lose. Terdsak absorbed them, his guard high, his spirit still fighting, but his body was beginning to betray him. The referee moved closer. The crowd stood on their feet. Then came the final sequence. Salido unleashed a devastating combination, precise, violent, unstoppable. The punches broke through Terdsak's defenses, his legs wavered, his resistance crumbled. One final crushing blow landed clean. And that was it. The referee stepped in. The war was over. Orlando Salido, the man who had been dropped, battered, and pushed to the brink, had risen from the abyss to claim victory. An 11th round knockout in one of the most brutal battles ever witnessed. The arena exploded. This was not just a victory. This was resurrection. After the fight, spoke calmly, almost detached from the chaos he had just endured. I was never worried, he said. Even when I was on the canvas, those were just flash knockdowns. I was never really hurt. It wasn't denial, it was belief. Unbreakable belief. This victory marked another chapter in his legendary career. Moving up to the super featherweight division at 130 pounds had revitalized him. No longer drained by brutal weight cuts, he felt stronger, freer. Before, losing those last pounds was killing me, he admitted. This time, I felt strong. No problems at all making weight. And it showed. Because against Terdsak Jandaeng, Salido didn't just survive. He adapted, endured, and conquered in a way few fighters ever do.
Por ahí está la izquierda, derecha, la otra derecha, y ahí se tambaleaba Kokietgym.
Sí, son golpes muy fuertes que está tirando ahorita el City. Sí.
Como dirían los boricuas, Víctor Bagué diría brutal el castigo aquí.
Y así ha sido, en realidad ha sido una pelea muy buena desde el primer round, sorprendiendo a todos, tumbando al City, pero luego City...
Acabar el pleito, salió con los golpes de poder.
O peor que lo lastimen y...
Menos mal que parece que tengo cintura porque he pasado varios golpes. Los guerreros, el ojo derecho por ahí parece del City que está lastimado. Y ahora llaveando a su rival de izquierda, pasando golpes con la cintura. Y Kokietgym, ya regresamos con mucho más de esta batalla. Bueno, el City Salido igual de duros. Una rivalidad antigua ya entre tailandeses y mexicanos. Desde la época de los 60 por ahí, con el tailandés Terdsak Jandaeng, quien enfrentara por el campeonato mundial Mosca. Sí, señor, en los 90 también el tailandés Sama. Y ahí está el City Salido con la derecha, ahora llaveando de izquierda. Lo siente Kokietgym. Pero sigue al frente el tailandés. Quiere seguir imponiendo presión sobre el Siri, que ahora tiene control del... Como usted lo quiera llamar. Y al Siri no le gusta eso. Quiere conectar a su...
But this story is not complete without honoring the man who stood across from him. Terdsak Jandaeng did not lose because he lacked strength. He did not fall because he lacked courage. He fought like a true warrior, relentless, fearless, and devastating. He dropped Salido. He dominated stretches of the fight. He pushed him to the edge of defeat. He lost because, on that night, he faced a man who refused to stay down. A man who turned defeat into triumph. A man who came back from the dead. As Salido looked toward the future, his ambitions remained unchanged. With momentum behind him, he set his sights on the biggest names in the division. A rematch with Mikey Garcia lingered in his mind, a chance at redemption. But he welcomed any challenge. It doesn't matter who I fight, he said. And beyond opponents, he dreamed of new arenas, new stages. I'd love to fight in Macau, he added. It's a big market. I want a big fight there before my career ends. But regardless of what came next, one truth remained undeniable. This war would never be forgotten. Because it was more than just a fight, it was a testament to the very soul of boxing, the willingness to endure unimaginable punishment, to rise when logic says you should fall, and to fight on when everything inside you is screaming to stop. This was not just part 10 of the series. This was blood, pain, glory. This was immortality forged inside the ropes. This was Orlando Salido, returning from the dead. This brings us to the end of the video. Tridingo would like to sincerely thank you for your support and companionship over the past time. Your enthusiastic support is an endless source of motivation that drives us to continue creating dramatic and highly entertaining content for you. Thank you very much. Wishing you a new day full of energy.